The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay. Hi everyone. Yeah, any questions for me before we get started? I hope you guys were able to solve those few questions which I listed last day with respect to SQL. Yeah, I listed almost 6 questions. I hope you guys were able to do it. So let's get back to the JDBC part, the Java database connectivity. So far what we did was through a Java program, I was able to insert a record into a database, and through a Java program, I was able to delete a record from a database, and through a Java program, I was able to read a record from a database, and I was also able to read all the records from a database. So if you look at the day.15, there was a program for insertion, then there was a program for deletion, which I asked you to finish it off. Then there was a program for selecting all the students, retrieving all the records. Then I gave two assignments. One was to delete a record, other was to select an individual record. That is, you give the ID of the student and you are expected to retrieve the student details, the rest of the student details. I hope you guys were able to complete it. Now, what next? So here I discussed, while discussing the last select all, I spoke about a scrollable result set, right? And I hope it was clear for all of you what is the significance of scrollable result set. You can travel in both directions when it comes to result set. You can travel in forward direction, you can also travel in backward direction when you make the result set as scrollable. But if you look at the second constant was what? Result set dot concur underscore read only. Right? The second argument was concur underscore read only. That was your second argument, right? So your result set is readable. Your result set is readable. That is, you only read data from the result set. You only read data from the result set. But will we be able to modify the result set? Can we make the result set as updatable? Right? Can we make the result set as updatable? If we can, then if we can make result set as updatable, then how do we do that? How do we do that? So here we go. We are into day 17 and I create a package, or I already have a package. Let me create a class. I want to talk about the updatable result set. So let me look at a database table. What are the tables I have? Oh, it's ID and name only I have. ID, address, age, name, and the salary. Okay. Let me create one. Okay, let me check whether do I have an account table or not. Okay. So create table account. I got account number, balance. Sufficient. I got a table. Now what I would like to do is let me insert few records. And here I need to do the commit. You can do the commit or you can simply close this. Even if you close this also, it will be treated as a commit only. You don't need to type commit to commit it. If you close this command prompt, it gets committed too. If you want, I can show that back. Connect, system. There was a table called account. Let me show you the records. Oh, it's not committing it. But actually, there is some other versions of SQL Plus where you don't need to do commit. Even if you close it also, it will be committed by default. Insert into account, values. Oh, sorry, it's a number. I need to do this commit here. Right. But I think probably it may be in MySQL, I think. I'm not sure. Let me check it out here too. Root. Then we need to use a database. So we created a database called Zivan. Then here I'll try to create an account. Create table account. Account number. Oh, number is not data type here. Then got the balance. We can use the data type double. And then we can say insert into account. I'm not doing the commit. Let me go back and check it out. MySQL command line client. Here, what is that? Use the one. Then here comes select star from account. You see, I didn't do any commit. When I closed down the terminal, it was committed by default. So, but in Oracle, you need to type a commit command to commit the data. But in MySQL, you can do commit to commit the data, or you can simply close the window that also commits the data. Now, so you have a data here. What I would like to do is, I would like to read it. So, what are the things We need to load a driver, establish the connection, prepare the query, execute the query. So I will be using all those stuff, connection. Then what do I else need? I'll go with a statement. It's up to me whatever I can use. I can use statement or I can use prepared statement. You got a connection, you got a statement. Now I don't want to write something for updating the connection from the 15th package. From the 15th package, I would like to obtain the connection. Database connection dot get connections. I'm not sure what database I'm gonna hit. Let me check it out. Yeah, I'm hitting Oracle only. So database connection dot get connection. Then you got your statement. Connection dot create statement. Then unhandled. SQL exception is a what type? Checked exception. SQL exception is a checked exception. So checked exceptions, you are forced to handle them. Checked exceptions are, you are forced to handle them. Checked exceptions, we are forced to handle them. Then you got a statement, okay, and what I need to do next? I need to I have to make my result set as a scrollable. So connection dot create statement. Actually, I'm not interested in the scrollable part. What I was in, I can just keep it forward only. Now what I am interested in is updatable. Then I also need a result set. Now result set is statement dot execute query. Select star from student. Now I know I'm trying to get all the records, so I'm using a while loop. Result set dot next. Then at a point of time it points to one record. So I'm trying to get the value from the first column. If the value is 1, I wanna update the balance amount. Because your account number is what? 1 year, right? Account number is 1. So there are 2 records. So at a given point of time, result set points to 1 record. From that record, you are trying to obtain the value of the column 1. And after obtaining the value of the column 1, you are comparing that value with the account number 1. If that matches, then what you want to do? Result set dot update double update double. The column is 2, the second column. What is the amount there? It was 1200. So to that, whatever which is already existing, I would like to add get double of 2 plus I would like to add 1000 more. So will this be sufficient? No. You also need to say result set dot update row. You also need to say result set dot update row. So you modify the column values and you need to say, hey, update the row. So you can also achieve this using your update query. You don't need to do all this kind of stuff. There is a update query. There is an update query. You can do this way. Update table name, update student, set the column name is balance. So you can say set balance is balance plus 1000, right? Where ID or sorry, account number, where account number equal to 1. You can simply run this query to update the record, or you can also update it using this result set option called concur underscore updatable. Right. That's it. And you got your finally block, and we already discussed the significance of finally. Finally block is used to close the resources. Okay, I on the day I was doing this, right, and some I think Dana asked me, why you do this, right? So I was thinking there was a logical reason. There is no logical reason. It's just a programming practice, right? It's just a programming practice. Why we do this, right? You can also do, right, connection not equal to null. We can also do connection not equal to null. There is no logical reason for doing null not equal to connection. It's just a practice, all right, and it's up to you, and it is not a mandatory practice. People can use it, but they need to maintain consistency. Either they need to do connection not equal to null, or they need to do null not equal to. So they just need to follow one of the practice. They cannot, violate, they cannot use everything. I mean, in some cases they do null not equal to connection. In some other cases they do connection not equal to null. That is not accepted. It is not a good practice. Right? But they can just follow one of the approach. Either they do null checks this way or the other way. Null not equal to connection, null not equal to statement, then null not equal to result. It's done. So when I run this, what happened? Oh, failed to convert internal representation. Where? It was a number what does it mean by fail to convert internal representation? Okay. Instead of printing the system.out.println, let me print stack trace to see the exception. It says fail to convert internal representation. Updatable result set, line number 26. So it says update column index. Okay. Let's try to repeat this step to see. Yeah, result set dot update double. Yeah, the column index and the volume. Okay. This could be the reason. still you have the same column index, the value updates a designated column with a double value. The updated methods are used to update column values in the current row or the insert row. Updater method do not update the underlying database. Instead, the update row or insert row methods are called to update the database. Okay. Let's try to do this. Yeah, you see here, you still have something called invalid operation. Now the error message has changed to something else. The problem was, since you are updating it, then you are unable to retrieve the value on it. That was a problem. So there was a conversion problem, but this seems to be good. You are modifying the value of it, or else you can do something. You can store double value equal to, and you can say result set dot get double of column 2, and you can say value plus. Now you see there is a different exception message. Oh, you still have the same. Failed to convert internal representations. Why? Okay, let's ignore this because this is not our agenda, right? Let me update the value to 2000. Get int of 1. Right. Anyhow, I'll come back to that part later. Let me try to figure it out. So I'm updating the double value, the second column. For the account number 1, the balance amount was 1200. I'm changing it to 2000 and I'm updating it. Now when I try to run this code, I get the message as what? Invalid operation for read-only result set. But we made the result set as updatable right here. We made the result set as updatable here. We made the result set as updatable, right? And there is no, when I made it as updatable, then why I still get the message as a read only? Why I get the message as a read only? The reason being, your Oracle database still gives read only when we use asterisk. When we use asterisk in the query, it will give you what? Read only result set only. Now instead of asterisk, I start using the column names. Now you don't see the problem. You see something else. Invalid identifier balance. B-A-L-A-N-C-E. It's perfect, right? Okay, got it. Earlier also, it is not student. The table name is account. It's not student. The table name is, oh, somebody was trying to correct me. Okay, fine. I didn't look at them. Okay, so that was a problem. Right. Now, I think it was perfect. If you go back and look at the DB, you got 2000. And I think here also it won't be a problem now, because last time that was the reason it was giving you the conversion problem. Get double, get the column 2, then add 2 more thousand to it. It should be 4,000 in the account. So this was all about your updatable result set. Now the thing is, the JDBC is quite outdated now. People use Hibernate. It's an ORM tool, object relational mapping tool. They won't be using this stuff, JDBC, but still, the basics, fundamentals one need to be aware of. What next? So we are done with your updatable result set. The other thing gonna be transaction, TCL. Alright, so I'll say, I just make the class as a transaction. Now what I would like to do in this case is, I would like to transfer the funds from one account to another account. I would like to transfer the funds from one account to another account. Right. Then I need a connection as usual. I have a connection, then I also need statement, or I can use prepaid statement. I'm going with prepaid statement. I got a connection, and I also have prepaid statement. I don't need a result set in this activity. Now what is my agenda? My agenda is to transfer the funds from one account to another account. My agenda is to transfer the funds from one account to another account. So let me write my first query then. Connection dot prepaid statement. Then I'm writing a query here. Update account, set balance equal to balance minus update account, set balance equal to balance minus set balance equal to balance minus 1000, where balance equal to balance minus 1000, where account number is 1. So from the account number 1, I would like to deduct 1000 rupees. From the account number 1, I would like to deduct 1000 rupees. From the account number 1, I would like to deduct 1000 rupees. Now what next? Then I need to run it. This is withdraw. Prepaid statement dot execute update. If it is not equal to 0, deducted successfully. If it is not equal to 0, deducted, else not deducted. done. Now what I want to do is, after performing this withdraw from one account, I would like to make the processor sleep for some time. So I'm adding a time lag here. How can I add a time lag? Is with the help of the sleep method from thread class. This is for 1000 milliseconds. This is 10,000 milliseconds, which comes to 1000, which comes to 10 seconds. So I added a time lag. Now after adding a time lag, what I would like to do? Then again, I'm doing a deposit into another account, that is the second account. Deposit, not deposit. Right. Then after that, you can write your finally block to close all the connection things that you can do it. Or I'll just go here, fetch it from the previous program and put it here. And there is no result set, which I get rid of. But here I have a prepaid statement in the place of statement. That's it. Now I try to run this program, and I also want you to observe this. Oh, what happened? Null pointer exception. Let's see, line number 9. Yes, we need a connection, right? We didn't see that obtain the connection. Database connection dot get connection. Now you see deducted. You go back and see the money got deducted. I terminated the application. If you might have observed carefully, it was 4,000. 1,000 has been deducted. After 1,000 is deducted, the 1,000 should get added to another account, right? But before it gets added to another account, what I did, I just terminated the program execution. So what happens now? You lost your 1,000 rupees, which you deducted from the account 1. So before you get transferred into account 2, some interruption happened, and whatever the money was there, that you lost it. But that should not be the case in the real world environment, because it is not accepted. It should not have accepted. So who is responsible for this problem? Who is responsible for this problem? The one who is responsible for this problem is auto commit. The one who is responsible for this problem is auto commit. By default, any query executed through a Java program, is auto committed. So as soon as the auto committed, that is, as soon as the query gets executed, it gets committed. So as soon as this first query got executed, it got committed. So the money was deducted from his account. But before that money gets added to another account, there was some interruption. So you lost the money. You are not reverting it back. You are not rolling it back. Because once you commit it, there is no point in rollback. Once committed, there is no point in calling rollback. Then what we are supposed to do now? disable the auto commit option. In this cases, disable the auto commit option. How do you do that? Connection dot set auto commit false. So as soon as I obtain the connection, I disable this auto commit. Then after both the queries are successful, then I say commit. After both the queries are successful, then I say commit. Otherwise, I won't be doing it. Now look at the money in the account. There is 3,000 and 3,200. Now I run the query. I got the message as deducted, but nothing got deducted from the bank account. I terminate it. No problem at all. It says deducted, but when you look at the bank account, do you see deducted? It is still 3,000 only. But it says deducted. When it is said deducted, it should be changed from 1,000 to 3,000 to 2,000. But that is not happening because you are not committing it. If you allow the program to complete, then only it gets committed. So we just need to wait for 10 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds is done. Then now you go back and see what happens. 1,000 moved from the account 1 to the account 2. Now after both the queries are successful, then you are calling the commit. Now this is what your transaction controlled. Then what you can do is, if anything goes wrong, then in the catch blocks or finally block executes always. So what you can do is, finally block executes always. So you can call the rollback in the finally. If null not equal to your connection. Connection dot rollback. So rollback is what all the operations you did so far, they will be on the temporary memory. As I said earlier, when you insert a record from this, it is not stored onto your secondary memory. It is stored onto your primary memory, that is cache. When you say commit, it gets into the secondary memory. When you say commit, then it goes into the secondary memory. That's the reason when I did this, row created, but when I close it and when I open it back, after closing, when I open it back, I don't see that record because it's not committed. But you got the message as one row created. But you don't see the record now. The reason, it is created, but it is not on the secondary device. It is not on the secondary memory. It is on the primary memory. The moment you close it, whatever the data which was on the primary memory gets cleared. It gets cleared. So, but when you say commit, whatever the data which was on the primary memory, that gets stored into the secondary. That gets into the secondary. Yeah. Any questions with respect to this? I mean, the transaction control, commit and rollback, updatable result set. All right. If no question, let's move on to the next part. what is the next one is PL SQL. Right. So your SQL is what? Structured query language, where you just only write a query. But can we reuse the code which is written in SQL? Can we reuse the code which is written in SQL? No. You cannot reuse the code which is written in SQL. Then you need to use PL SQL for that. You need to use PL SQL for that. So you can look at the tutorial. We have something called tutorialspoint.com, and in the tutorialspoint.com you have something called Learn SQL, and you also have Learn PL SQL. So you can learn SQL from here. Which, if you see, I covered almost all the topics of SQL, like update, order by, group by, like. Then you got update, delete, drop, create. Then you have something called joins, subqueries, having class. Now let's look at the PL SQL. I don't want to get into details of the PL SQL. I just want to show you how do we write a procedure and a function. A procedure, a function. What is the difference between the procedure and function? Both are reusable. That is a similarity. Both are reusable. That is a similarity. Then what is the difference? The difference is function returns a value. That is, in the function you can use a return keyword. In the procedure you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to do that. So let's write a very simple program, right? A simple program to write write a procedure. Let's write a simple procedure and a function. So here you can look at these tutorials to learn how to write a procedure and function. I'll be doing one here. Create or replace procedure A in number and B out number. So what does mean? It means it's A as an input parameter and B as an output parameter. A as an input parameter and B as an output parameter. Then something called begin and select balance into B from account where A where A and O equal to A. So we have something called create or replace procedure A in number, B out number, invalid or missing procedure, function or package name. Yeah. Create or replace procedure, so it should be a procedure name. Get balance. A in number, B out number. Procedure created with compilation errors. So it won't work. We need to figure out the reason. Begin. Procedure, create or replace procedure, procedure name, number, period of number. Let me try this. Select balance into the variable B and from account where account number equal to B. Yeah, procedure got created. Right. Let me create a class. What I want to run? Procedure. Right. Procedure. Yeah. You can see just run the procedure. And I pick a main method. Then here we go. Right. This is for your information, the procedure. And you cannot do this on MySQL. MySQL doesn't support this. Only Oracle supports this. So create or replace procedure, procedure name, and A in number, B out number. A is an input parameter, B is an output parameter, and is begin, select the balance variable. Now the thing is, you will be able to reuse this query by calling this function called getBalance. So let's see how will I make use of it. So as usual, I need a connection. Connection is null. Then we got the callable statement. Callable statement is also a null. Then obtain the connection. Database connection dot get connection. Then callable statement. Why callable statement? Because it's not your normal SQL statement. So we will be using connection dot prepare call. So if you see there is a complete change. So you are using callable statement because you are running a procedure and function. Now here within that question mark. Oh, there is no question mark equal to because okay, that's it. Call get balance. There are two question marks. Handle the exception. Java dot SQL dot surround with try catch. That's it. Callable statement connection dot prepare call. Get the balance. Now what next? Simple. Or you can simply say here. Callable statement dot. There are two parameters. Only one is an input parameter. The first one is an input parameter. So I'm passing the account number. What about your second one? Your second one is your output parameter. And your output is of what type? So I say types dot double. Types dot double. So my first question mark is an input parameter because your get balance method takes how many arguments? The get balance takes two arguments. One is an input parameter, other is an output parameter. Alright, it's an input parameter, it's an output parameter. A in number, B out number. So my first question mark is set in. My second question mark, I'm saying that this is not an input parameter, this is an output parameter. And of what type? Double type. Then here I'm going to say, so callable statement dot get int of, sorry, it's not get int, it's get double, because your second parameter is an output parameter of type double. That's it. You can run the procedure. Oh, there is exception. What is the exception for? Line number 36. Yeah, you need to execute it, right? Callable statement dot execute. Now you see the output. 4,200. Yes. $4,200 second account number. I hope it's clear. So you are using callable statement to run the procedures and functions. To run any PL SQL, we need to use callable statement. To run any PL SQL, we need to use callable statement. And this is what we have. Connection.prepare call. Call, get the balance. And you got two question marks. The first question mark is an input parameter. The second one is an output parameter. So you are registering it as an output parameter. Then you say execute. Then you say execute. Then you say callable statement dot get double of 2. So this is a procedure, and we just figured out how to write a procedure. Now let's try to define a function. Let's try to define a function. How do we write a function? Create table, sorry, create or replace function. Let the function name be plus A in number, B in number, right? You got two input parameters. Return number is oh, I think I messed up. Begin. Let's look at the syntax. Function. Yeah. Return number, then is, then there should be a variable. The variable is C of type number. Then you have a begin. Then C colon equals to A plus B. You're finding the sum. Then return C and function created. You got a class to run the function with the main method. So what do we have in this function? Create or replace function. The name of the function is plus. You got A in number, B in number. Return that number and C is a variable of, so what is happening here is, it's a function. Function returns a value. So the name of the function is plus. It takes two arguments and both of them are input parameters, and it returns a number type. It returns a number type. Then after is, we are declaring a variable of type C. Sorry, we are declaring a variable C of type number. When you are finding the sum of the A and the B and storing in the C, you are returning the C value and the function. That's it. Now how do we do this? Same stuff. You need to have a connection. Then you need a callable statement. You need a function, you need a callable statement. Obtain the connection. Obtain the connection. Obtain the connection. Then connection dot prepare call. Focus here. Now this time it is question mark equal to call, the function name plus question mark question mark. So this is your output parameter, or you can say return value. Since this function returns a value, this is how you do it. And this is your first input parameter and this is your second input parameter. So question mark, the first question mark is an out parameter. The second question mark is an in parameter. The third question mark is also an in parameter. Checked exception. Again, I made a mistake. The import should be from java.sql. The import should be from java.sql. Then comes here exception handling. Connection, database connection dot get connection, connection dot prepare call. Then what next? Set the values for the question mark. The second question mark is an input parameter of type integer. I'm passing 23. Again, set int. The third question mark is also an input parameter. What about your first question mark? Your first question mark is not input parameter, it's an output parameter. So when you add two integers, what will be the result? Integer. Then I just need to say execute. Then we can print your output. Sum is callable statement dot get int of 1, because the 1 is your out parameter. 1 is your out parameter. Sum is 57. Yep. Any questions on what I covered so far in JDBC or in SQL? It is very rare for someone to write, someone to execute procedures and functions through a Java program. It will be a very rare job.
Yeah, hi Arun. I had a question regarding the result set. I was trying to write a function in Java which will be able to display the rows and columns from any table, so that I don't have to write, yeah.
Yeah,
So that
go ahead.
I don't have to get connection and load driver every time. So all I wanted is I create a class and I call this function which belongs to some other class, and I'm able to print out a table from that function. So is there, like, I was trying to use the metadata as well, but I'm getting into a lot of problems. So is there like a simple logic for doing that?
Can I look at the code?
Okay, the code is in jumbles, but yeah, shall I just email it to you?
Yeah, or I shall make you the presenter, or should we do it offline or later?
Yeah, maybe later, because even I'm so confused about this.
Okay, fine.
So I'll email it to you,
Yeah, sure.
and so that I don't want to disturb the class.
Yeah, I'll just go through it and we'll discuss in the next class. Just
Sure,
forward it.
thank you. Okay.
All right. So okay. Anyhow, she brought up the discussion of the metadata. So let me discuss metadata. What is metadata, and what is the significance of it? All right. Here we go. There are two metadatas here. One is metadata with respect to connection object, and the other one is metadata with respect to the result set. Okay. Class metadata demo. Here we go. I just go with a connection. Database connection dot get connection. Now, on the connection object, I can call a method. On a connection object, I can call a method. On the connection object, I can call a method called get metadata. On the connection object, I can call a method called get metadata. That gives me database metadata object. That gives me database metadata object. Now, what is the significance of this database metadata? What is the significance of this database metadata? You're going to see that. You want to know which database you are working with. Of course, you will be knowing it. But through a Java program, if you want to know, DBMD, it is database metadata object dot. Get database product name. The database product name is Oracle. You also want to know the version of the database. Database product version. Get database product version. Oracle Database 10G Express Edition, release 10.2.0.1.0. So is that what else we can do with the database metadata? As you know, these are all relational database management systems, and you have tables. What is the maximum number of columns allowed in a table? Maximum columns. Maximum columns allowed in a table. Get maximum columns allowed in a table. Thousand columns are allowed in a table, maximum. When you run your select query, right? Maximum columns, there was something called maximum columns allowed in select. You can see here, get maximum columns in select. So when it comes to 0, what does mean? So returns the maximum number of columns this database allows in select list. The maximum number of columns allowed. A result of 0 means there is no limit or the limit is not known. So when it is returning a 0, it indicates that there is no limit on the number of columns or the limit is not known. So in a select query, you can have as many columns as you want. There is no restriction. Similarly, databases are concurrent access in nature. Databases are concurrent access in nature. Max connections. Max connections allowed. Get max there was something called get driver, get max connection. Again here also the same. It returns 0. It indicates that there is no limit on the number of connections or the limit is not known. 0 means the limit is not known or there is no limit on the number of connections. So if you want to know more about your database, then your database metadata object, how did you obtain this object? On the connection, when you say get metadata, you get this database metadata object. Now on this, you have all the methods and to find out more and more about your database. I didn't even use 5% of the methods out of them, but you have a lot of them to know more about your database. So this is all about your database metadata, right? There is also something else called Metadata Demo. I said there is one more thing called Result Set Metadata Demo. So as usual, obtain the connection, whatever statement or prepared statement. Java.sql. Then you also need a result set. Then you also need a result set metadata. Then as usual, obtain the connection. Then prepare the query. Execute query. Select start from account or student, whatever the class can be. Alright, so you got your result set. Result set equal to result set, result set metadata. How do you get result set metadata? On the result set, when you say get metadata, that gives you result set metadata. On the result set, when you say get metadata, that gives you result set metadata. Now on this, what are the things you can do? On the result set metadata, you can get the column count, number of columns. Then you can also get the column name. The first column name you can get. Excuse. You can also get the second column name. So the first column count is 2. The first column name is A and O. The second column name is balance. So with the help of result set metadata, you can find a lot about the result set. I am not sure whether we have, yeah, you also have, what is this? Get table name. Gets a designated columns. What is it? Okay, let's try this. I'm not sure. Designated columns table name. There is nothing, it gets printed. So when we take the mouse over, column name, the first column is 1, the second is 2, table name, alright, or empty if it is not accessible. I don't know, probably this is something, not sure what is that method for, right? It is giving you as empty. Then you got result set metadata. Then what else you can find out? You can find out the column names, you can find out the column data type also, you can find out the column type. The column type is 2. Now what do you mean by 2? Right, so there are integer constants actually. So what does the 2 indicate? What are the 2 indicates? 2 indicates it's in a double type. You can see column type name. So you have column type, you have column type name. Now you see what is 2? Data type is number. Data type is number. Okay, this is the this is the column type name is the data type name. But these data types, if you remember in the callable statement, if you see, where was that? You were saying, right? Types dot integer. You're saying types dot integer, right? So this is what? Look at this here. It's public static final int. What is the integer value there? 4. Right? What is the integer value there? 4. So every data types are constants here. Java.sql.types.integer. In the same way you can have types.number. The same way you can have types dot number and oh, it's not here. Okay, this is not available. Then we can have the one types dot double. See, what is the value? 8. So they are all constants, right? So they are all constants. So those constant values is the first one. So when you say column type, that gives you the constant. When you say column type name, that gives you the actual data type name. Similarly, you can find more about your result set with the help of result set metadata. Yeah. Any questions on this part? Okay. If no questions, let me list it down what I'm going to do tomorrow and day after. Threads, reflections, annotations, NIO, concurrency. So this is all something which I'm going to do in the next class. Next 2 classes. We'll be focusing on threads, reflections, annotations. First I'll be doing threads, then reflection, annotations, NIO. These are all JDK 1.5 onwards. Threads is available from the beginning, but reflections, annotations, they have been introduced from 1.5 onwards. NIO and concurrency also. So we'll be learning that 1.5 and 1.6 features in the next class. Alright, okay, if you guys got no questions, we'll stop here. We'll catch you in the next session. Or if you have any questions, I'll take it.